Hello. I thought I'd give Walking in the Light a go this time because it's one that I've always really loved. Uh, in part, self indulgently, because it gave me an opportunity to elicit this well intentioned but quite ham fisted genuflection to Hendrix, but also because when I listen to it now, it seems to capture a certain vibe in the air that I felt was about a great deal in that kind of time frame between 1989 1991. You know, you had like rave culture going on, you had Daisy Age and all this sort of stuff. It felt like there was a kind of subjectively, it felt like there was a kind of gentleness in the air. I know that this is I'm dooming myself by saying that. Obviously, if you're in a war zone at the time, it probably didn't feel that way. But for me, it just felt like there was a kind of suddenly people were digging out a lot of very cool old things and sampling them, for example. And with this one, it was kind of, oh god, I'm trying to set the scene here. Right, cast your mind back to 1990, I guess, when we were recording this. Um, at that time, I don't think we had a title for Bedazzled yet. Bedazzled was called Bedazzled largely because, particularly Kevin and I, absolutely adored the '60s film Bedazzled. I'm a huge Dudley Moore fan. You know that music, my god. But this is how deep down the kind of hippie rabbit hole I was at that point. I wanted to call it Further because that was what it said on the front of the psychedelically painted school bus that Ken Kesey and his merry pranksters went through America in the mid '60s, turning people on. And the best thing is they misspelled it the first time, so Further with two U's, Further, and I wanted to call it that because I thought that's brilliant. It's like the next step, but also it's slightly clueless. We don't really know where this is going to take us. I thought that was great, but it was overruled, perhaps wisely. But at that same, but it's probably around that time that I started wearing, and some of you who've been to the gigs will probably remember this with horror. I started wearing a pair of trousers that were essentially carpet material. They're made of carpets. I don't know how more embarrassing I can make this, but I borrowed them from my big sister. She bought, it was like a trouser suit like that, entirely made of carpet that she bought in Scandinavia somewhere in about 1969, 1970, something like that. And I thought, oh, they look pretty smart. I think I'll wear them on stage. And I sheepishly brought them out at one of the gigs and said to everybody else in the band, hey, what do you think of these? Shall I wear these? And they all sort of went, aye. And, bless them, they were being ever so diplomatic and they put up with me caping about with wearing a carpet for, man, best part of a year or two. God, I can only apologise. But the saddest thing about this is if I had them now, I'd still wear them if I could get into them. One wouldn't even fit as a sleeve now. Anyway, I digress, don't I always? Walking in the Light. It was an older song of Kevin's. I think it might have been from when he was in the Suede Crocodiles. Not sure, you'd have to ask Kevin. But it was a song that we all liked and thought, could do with like a new pair of carpet trousers, if you like. The original treatment was very pop. It was great. But what we ended up with was, I'm trying to cast my mind back. I think there was a Hendrix song called, or a Hendrix blues cover, Hear My Train A Coming. And I think my idea of the rhythm pattern was loosely based on that. It was that kind of thing. The magic ingredient was it's slathered in delay. Oh man. And I've got a real thing about delay, an almost childish, it zones me out instantly. Like if you're ever watching like an old film and somebody's trying to hypnotise somebody with a watch, look closely. That's what delay does to me. I just, so that's what this is to me. So it's just a pattern on A with an implied G there, implied F sharp there. top, and an E minor with a G on the top, a G with a G on the top, and then back to. Whoops. Chorus is straight A, G over D, F sharp over D, and finger picked so that you hear that top note. That one. My finger picking is really, really stupidly simple. It's the claw hammer thing that Donovan used to do, and that Donovan claimed to have shown to the Beatles. I interviewed Donovan about 10 years ago, and he was great. He was absolutely full of it. Oh yes, I invented this, and I invented that. I'll give it to him. Sunshine Superman, that was way ahead of the game in terms of psychedelia. And the weirdest thing was when I was setting up this interview, sorry about all these digressions, when I was setting up the interview, I had text messages from Donovan, which I thought was hysterically funny for some reason. I couldn't equate Donovan with texting. And I mentioned this on Facebook, one of my friends said, Donovan invented texting. That was good. So anyway, what was, this. If you remember the electric sitar that I mentioned, which wasn't really, that I played on Hole in the Ground, it's also in this, with that weird Easterny sounding chord. That went through the Leslie speaker of a Hammond organ that was in Park Lane Studios where we always recorded. Fantastic thing. When we played it live, I'd use a chorus pedal like that, just to zone it out even more. The Hammond organ probably belonged to the studio, I guess it did. There was also a great Vox AC30 in there, a little 60s top boost Vox AC30 amplifier, which I think belonged to Texas. Texas the band, not the Lone Star State, obviously. And I used that all the time. I used that on 95% of all the KMO stuff. It was a great little thing. Anyway, I'm digressing a lot, aren't I? That I think is about all there is in it. The sort of all the kind of leady sort of bits in it are all ad-libbed. All ad-libbed. And I think we probably thought it was going to fade. We weren't really sure, so we just played on. And at the end you get these very Hendrixy chords. And that was an ad-lib as well. I didn't even know if it was going to be left in the track or not. But we quite often let things run on because sometimes Jim and Steph would get into like this fantastic groove, a bit like Navigator. The groove on the end of that is just colossally lovely. So we ended up just leaving it as it was, because it was great. And also, I like things that don't resolve too neatly. I like the fact that just leaves you kind of hanging a bit, I think that's about all I want to say about that. I love it. I hope you do too. I'll maybe try and do something a bit more coherent next time, but for the moment, zone out.